Hello, friends. Welcome to our YouTube channel, artoftesting.com. I am Rohit Agrawal, and today we'll be starting a new venture in our channel, which is success stories of QA professionals who are now successful individuals in their professional journey. Today, we have with us Mr. Mohit Gupta, who has 10 plus years of experience. And I'll give this now opportunity to Mohit to introduce himself to our audience. Mohit, please go ahead.
Thanks, Rohit, for having me on this platform. It gives me immense pleasure to discuss with you today and give it back to the community. Hi guys, I'm Mohit, working as the account executive for the Provar, which is a test automation tool for the Salesforce. Now, before we go into more discussion, I would really like to appreciate the effort that is being put by the art of testing in giving back to the community. I can remember from the days when we started with our testing journey, there was not much guidance and we were just confused with our future, but things got well as we move along. And now we have a very good platform who is actually helping the users worldwide to make sure their testing journeys and their professional journeys are successful.
Thank you, Mohit, for the words of appreciation and encouraging us to go ahead and beyond our roles. Now, before we start, can you please give us a brief intro about your current work profile that you are handling right now?
Sure. So I'm currently working as the account executive for a test automation tool called Provar, which is a dedicated test automation tool for the Salesforce. So I generally look after the sales process,
Mhm.
some of the pre-sales process as well. So that's been my role in the Provar.
Okay, great. Before we go ahead, I would also like to tell our viewers that in this interview process, we'll also talk about some of the very common questions that are in mind of QA professionals who may be a beginner or have a good amount of experience in their professional journey. So we'll also talk about those questions and we'll talk to Mohit about how he faced those questions and what was his mode of appreciation or his mode of something that encouraged him to go ahead and do something beautiful in his journey. So, Mohit, tell us your journey. So, when you started as a manual tester, what was going in your mind, and how did you see your future in this IT world?
See, obviously, when I actually got the opportunity to work as the manual tester, I was kind of a confused because in during those days in our engineering, we were being more told about the development rather than about testing. But I gave it a shot. Things went well with my first project, which was mostly on the manual testing. But I got to learn a lot of things from there, how the testing is being done, what are the things that needs to be taken care of, what are different steps and the procedures that is involved in the testing. So there were different things that I really come to know. So I do not limit myself to that point. I keep learning about the automation that was a hot cake at that point of time. It is still right now as well,
Mhm.
but at that time there was not much resources as compared to right now, which is also being provided by Adobe Testing.
Mhm.
Now I started learning that I moved to a different organization where I was in the multiple roles of manual testing and automation testing.
Mhm.
Later, I got a job with Provar, and I've been Provar for more than 6 years now. So it was kind of a new tool at that point of time. So I started working as a normal consultant. I used to help customers that was working with Provar, help them with their queries. Later, since it was a new organization, there were less people, so I got to know a lot of things in the organization. That was not only limited to the success stories of the customers, but also how we can move into the product, how we can make sure we provide our valuable guidance in making the product is something that is useful for the end users. Because as a what I believe, as a normal testers, you are putting on you yourself into the shoes of the normal users who will be using the application,
Mhm.
and thus you can think from their perspective what their situation could be at that point of time, and then you can help the product team to guide or maybe develop the product in that way. So moving in the time I started working with the pre-sales activities, I used to help and assist the prospects
Mhm.
who were to use Provar maybe in future, helping them with the sales activities, and then finally moving into the sales, which is the current profile I'm catering to. So it's
So
been quite a journey where I involved in multiple activities from manual testing to automation testing to customer success, and to then to sales.
So, based on the answer that Mohit gave us, so I would like our viewers to bear in mind that being a QA professional, you actually get to know the product in and out. First point. The second point is that you help build a product, you make it better with your experience, and you give a very valuable feedback to the product management team about the product scope and its usage and how a normal user actually uses the product. So, Mohit, when you have this experience, right? So, did you ever feel like many of our viewers or people on our channel have this concern that QA resource is underrated in front of a developer? So, did you ever feel that this is being there, considering the kind of work you did or the compensation you were paid by your company?
There is some gap, but that challenge is only in the starting stage. But I feel QA are more privileged as compared to other parts of the software engineering professionals, because if you even compare from the developers, what I personally do, most of the developers just limit themselves to the development activity, and I have seen most of my friends, most of my colleagues who just get bored out of it, and they really don't want to coding it. Just the initial years that they are very interested. That's because of our uh, what you can say, the knowledge that we have been imparted because of that. But as you move along, or further in your career, you get to know you are doing much more than a developer is doing. Obviously each has their own role in the engineering process, but you can enjoy yourself more in terms of different parts where you will be involved, and as you move along, you will you can make sure you get compensated very well as well. So the important things that you need to take care is you are you are very much committed to the domain that you are working, and I guess the important thing is building a speciality in the domain.
Mhm.
Because for example, if you talk about insurance sector, banking sector, or maybe e-commerce sector, people or companies are actually looking for the guys who have prior experience of working in the same domain. So if we have in the same domain, maybe if you're moving from Flipkart to Amazon to any other e-commerce website, that would be good for your journey. So make sure you plan it that way, so that your chances of having a successful career can be increased.
So again, my dear viewers, I like to draw your attention to what Mohit told us. So basically, being a QA, you get a diverse and introspective into the product, and not just the product, actually the domain, and then into the technical expertise as well. You get to know the product in and out, unlike a developer who is actually working on a given module in the product. But being a tester, you know end-to-end functionality of that product, and that actually helps you gain more knowledge about the product and its features. So, Mohit, let's talk about one of the evergreen questions in the QA world. So, people basically feel that QA, manual QA is dying. What is your take on this question, and how would you suggest our viewers to think about this?
Manual QA can never be a dead job. Every company, every product requires a QA person, because before it moved to automation, which is obviously the hot cake,
Hmm.
there is a manual testing which is required. The automation cannot be there from the very initial stages. So manual QA will always be there, but it is really good to enhance your skills with various other topics that's there in the testing as well. So it's not only that you are writing the test case and executing the test case. There are different things, like you can learn to more about the APIs, how it works, what are the different tools that is available in the market. Then just try to gain more experience with different tools, because your organization one might ask for tool one, but organization two might ask for tool two. So these are very much interrelated. If you get to, let's say, if you talk about API, if you get to know how SOAP UI is working, it's very easy to understand how Postman is also working.
Hmm.
So just try to enhance your skill on different tools,
Hmm.
um, so that you can shape your career in the right way. So start with manual QA, but gain your experience, and maybe if you're not getting opportunity, there are a lot of resources that you will even find it out of testing to make sure you understand different aspects well.
So now, thank you, Mohit, for this. So now coming to the biggest challenge or the biggest question that is there in the minds of all the QAs working around. So they feel that any it's a common notion or a myth in the software industry basically that anyone can do testing. So based on your 10 plus years of experience, how do you gauge this journey? So when you had started your career, you were just say 0 to 1 years of experience, and then when you had 4 to 5 years of experience, and then again you had 9 plus years of experience. So how do you understand these parts, and how do you feel that the kind of testing that you did when your career started, when your career was in mid or now, so how is this journey and how the testing expertise has increased over time?
So I recall an incident that actually happened in the first interview that was for the testing. Um, he was actually the head of operations for the India team, and he asked me what is my favorite sport, which I play regularly. And then he really asked me questions on that, and he asked me to build a scenario on that. So when someone says anyone can do testing, it's really not a true statement. You really require a skill set. You really require that mindset that enables you to move into the application
Hmm.
and try to dig deeper where you can actually identify the issues.
Uh-huh.
Because if anyone would have tried that job, uh, companies would have picked anyone just out of the market to do the testing, but they have a rigorous interview process for the testing as well. So testing can never be a job which can be done by anyone. Had it been that, developers who are considered to be at par from QA, they would have done the QAs, right?
Yeah.
So no companies actually rely on the developer to do the QA. They rely on the specific QA person to do that.
Mhm.
So I can assure you the QA person can feel confident on the things that they are doing,
Mhm.
and their job is something that it cannot be replaced by anyone else.
So coming to our next question, Mohit. So now, being a QA, how do you feel that the communication skills or the relationship that you create with different teams, developers, product managers, technical product managers? So how does a QA act there, and what is the take that he actually takes in himself or herself as an individual or as a professional?
See, as a person coming from QA background, I really feel testers has the most responsibility of maintaining the right communication with each part of the team, and that involves every part. Because when I was working with my second organization, the product was being built from the very scratch, right? So there were requirements that were coming from the BS side. There were developers that were involved. Then there was management who were actually asking for how the things are going. So they ask from you, right? Everything is from you. How much QA is being done, because they have to deliver, and for that delivery you have to give a go. Otherwise they won't be able to deliver. So it is very important to have the right kind of communication with BA so that you understand the requirement. It is very important to have the right kind of communication with the developer so that they might able to build a kind of a functionality which is looking very on the positive side. But when it comes to the side where it is breaking, you actually need to make them understand that this is a way it can be break. Business users might not be that much interested in that, but you have to explain that in more detail to the development team. Maybe just go with them, sit with them along with their system,
Mhm.
test the things, the scenarios that you have in mind,
Uh-huh.
and just explain that this is the way I'm able to break it. So if you can fix it, it will be able to save a situation might be in future.
True.
So and same is the case with the product management team. Before delivery, they are up to you. Out of 10 stories, how many are you able to test? We have to release next week. What is the position of the regression testing? So everyone is after you. You have to make sure that you communicate very well, and and both in terms of listening and speaking, because
Mhm.
it can never be, if you, let's say, if you're speaking with a BA guy, you have to just listen. You have to just listen, keep on listening and asking the questions, because if you do not listen to the requirement, you will not be able to identify the scenarios. You will not be able to have those scenarios written in your test case. And if
Mhm.
you do not speak in front of the developers, you might not be able to convince them that this is the real bug, even though it might be there in the Jira. But even if that is not getting fixed, that is of no use. right?
Correct. So
So
basically,
that's the important thing.
hmm. So basically, you also tell them the complexity or the severity of that bug and how to prioritize that in the queues of the bugs that we have.
uh, yeah, we generally as a QA person generally try to do that, but obviously there is a separate team who actually triage it,
Hmm.
uh, which one to get fixed. But it is your responsibility, or even if you not say responsibility, it is your as a QA person, it is our duty to ensure we communicate in the right way. Even if it is not only about speaking and listening, it is also about how you're writing the things. Let's say, because things can be worked with global teams as well. The
Hmm.
testing might be done in India, let's say in Gurgaon office, but the development might be happening in the Bangalore office, right? So
True.
you are not meeting that person face to face, you are only communicating via the let's say ticket that you have created. So it is very important that you capture each and every detail and explain in the right way. Think from the perspective of someone who is actually not aware of the situation.
Uh-huh.
The- you see, you have that situation in mind. If you write only an overview, the other person don't have that situation in the mind. So it is very important you write each and every detail so that it can be passed on to the user who will be working on it. He can understand the situation and then he can work on it. Otherwise, if he does not understand it well, again, the communication is a failure at that point.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Thanks for this information, Mohit. So coming to our next question. So basically, when we start as a QA professional, it's always there in our mind. Be it whatever number of experience we have, we always think about the career opportunities that a QA professional have. So now let's talk about this aspect. First, let's talk about the opportunities within the QA world, within the testing domain, and then we'll
Mhm.
go ahead and talk about career opportunities outside the QA domain on what are the different roles that a QA can actually take up. So let's talk about the career opportunities within the QA organization or QA domain itself.
Right. See, yeah, manual QA, automation QA is definitely the hot cakes. Automation QA is definitely the one people can. It the situation has actually made it. But what you can also with experience, again, as I said earlier, if you have that domain knowledge and if you're spending more time with the project, there will be a situation where you will be turned out to be a test lead. You will be turning out to be the manager who might be handling multiple testing projects, or maybe an architect
Mhm.
to ensure that testing is done in the right way. So there are a lot of aspects. It is not that you will keep on doing the manual testing. That is the basic. That is the starting. Means to go to in the alphabet series to go to XYZ, you need to understand from ABC, right? So that is the ABC. And if you keep on working, you will definitely move to UVXYZ as well.
Uh-huh. Great, great. So now we get to know that what are the different ways or the different ladders that we can actually go ahead when we are sticking to the QA organization. And we can always build upon our skill sets and be a more thorough QA person in that field. Now let's talk about the opportunities that we have outside the QA domain and what all it takes to go and apply for that profile.
See, outside Q domain, the opportunities are endless. See, there is no limit, what I can see. It's just your will that is required to acquire a particular skill, and you are ready for that. And the skill has no scope.
Mhm.
It can be ranging from a BA. There are a lot of courses there in the market that can really help you to sharpen that skill. It can be a Scrum Master. Everyone see there is a Scrum Master in the sprint team. Everyone is working with an agile methodology. There is always a Scrum Master. So just maybe if you are not going for a course, just learn from the experience what in every Scrum meeting that Scrum Master is doing, and then try to see if that is really a thing that excites you.
Mhm.
If yes, go for the course that can sharpen your skills around that. uh, you can jump into the pre-sales thing. That's again, there are a lot of technical products in the market. For pre-sales is kind of a thing where let's say if someone is really interested in a product, they would approach you and you have to explain in detail how this product can be really helpful for your organization, what is the value the product will be providing to you. Because you are technical, you will be able to explain that pretty well rather than anyone who is not so technical. Similarly, you can land into sales as well, although it's slightly different profile as compared to the pre-sales things. But still, there are a lot of technical products out there that really requires the technical skills, as well as um, there are again things and the skills that you can acquire to sharpen in that sales part.
Mhm.
But few more examples that I can provide is in the technical domain, there is a project manager that you can eventually become,
Mhm.
because um, and the communication skills that we discussed earlier, that will play a very important role over there, because you will be dealing with a lot of people. You understand how they are working, how a particular profile is working, so you are understanding from their perspective, and from different communication you will be able to understand what is the real thing that that excites you, right? Just focus on that and try to sharpen your skill on that. Art of testing is for the QA team, but you go to YouTube, find different videos.
Mhm.
Everything is available for free, and make sure you understand different things, and then maybe try to pursue your career in that perspective.
True. So you made a very valid point here. So we have endless opportunities and we have endless scopes and ventures through which we can actually enhance our skills. Art of
Correct.
Testing, the platform that we are building upon, is one such platform where we actually help our community understand and grow and make more profound profile in the software industries. Now, Mohit, coming to your professional journey, we would like our viewers to understand what motivated you to go out of the QA profile and grab these opportunities. Then we'll also talk about what were the challenges you faced in this journey and what are the things or how did you prepare to actually get to this new profile.
Uh, See, I would say I was slightly lucky to land on this particular role, because unlike as I said, there was no much guidance earlier. So we used to go in a path where testing is the only thing. But luckily, I joined Provar and I get to explore different things that we have available outside of the testing scope as well. What motivates me is kind of an organization for which you can work for, that can give you the right platform. See, your career will always be important for you, but the organization for which you work is also very important. So if you are in an organization that is treating you well, try to explore your opportunities over there, because they will definitely have one or the other opportunities that they can allow you to sharpen your skill, they can invest in you, and then they can help you to proceed with that journey. Similar thing happened with me. Provar really helped me to start my career in a different way. It really helped me to understand what are different things that is really available in the market apart from the normal QA process,
Mhm.
and that has really kept me stuck in this organization for so long. So just try to identify your motivation in the career,
Mhm.
be it the organization, be it the money, be it the role, whatever that is. Just try to go for that. Make sure you understand each and every bit of that. um, Again, there are different references that is available on the YouTube, so just learn from that, and then go for it. There will be no stopping you at that point of time.
Great. So my viewers, I guess you understand that when you're working in any professional organization, the organization keeps in mind that they actually develop and hone the skills of their employees. So if you are trying to get into a different profile, there's always an internal opportunity to actually go through the trainings. You have various platforms like YouTube, Udemy, and other platforms where you can actually do that with those courses. And then certainly, like you have proved yourself as a good QA resource, you'll also have to prove yourself as a good that profiles person to your reporting manager and the respective manager of that profile. And success is all about our work and the way we actually take it up to a closure. So
Right.
it's all about our willpower and our smartness, the skill set that we hone up that will help us actually grow, not just in the QA industry, but in any industry. So, Mohit, before we actually wrap up this success story with you, we would like you to help our viewers understand how can they become a good QA resource and they can enhance their testing quality and the skill set that they have with them.
See, from the testing perspective, what I really believe, there are few important things and the skills that we should be working on if we are not at to that stage. The first is attention to the detail.
Mhm.
If you are, as we discussed earlier, if someone is saying anything regarding any requirement, make sure you understand it well and you ask questions. That
Mhm.
is very important. Communication is another key. As I said, you will be required to communicate with a lot of team members, so from various domains. So make sure you communicate well. The third and the, I guess this is the one of the most important thing, is think from the user perspective. It is, do not think that this is a job that you have to do. You have to just write 5 test cases of a user story and execute them when required, and you are done. That will not be one of the very good approach. What I really feel is, land in the shoes of the users who will be using it. If let's say it's a university portal, land in the shoes of student. If it's an e-commerce website, land in the shoes of the retail users who will be working on it. If it's a banking application, land in the shoes of the banking customer, and then try to create different scenarios. Because the more scenarios you can think of, the better test cases you will be able to build, and the more improvement you will be able to provide. I will not say bugs,
Mhm.
but that would be kind of an improvement you will be able to provide to the product, and thus you will be enhancing your skills as well, because you are thinking beyond testing. You are thinking to improve the product, right? That
Mhm.
is the important thing that you should be keeping in mind.
Thanks, Mohit, for your valuable time. It was really very beneficial for us and our viewers who can actually get to know your success stories, and they can also learn and get answers to the various questions that is there in the mind of a QA professional.
Thanks, Rohit, for having me over here. I know how pain it is when you have no one around you who can guide you. And I guess this video, or maybe more videos like this, will be very helpful for new QA persons, or maybe who have some experience, to understand what are there in the market, right? So that is the thing they can explore and get their career a new shape if they are really concerned about it.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Mohit. So, my dear viewers, we were discussing this with Mr. Mohit Gupta, who has 10 plus years of experience, and he shared his profound successful journey in this IT world. I hope this video was helpful for you, and it may have answered many of the questions or doubts that is lingering around in most of the QA professionals. If this video was helpful, please do not forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Please feel free to ask any questions or any improvements that you would like to suggest us to bring in this success stories venture of our channel. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Mohit.